The Three Brothers and the Mountain of Trials. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between vast forests and tall mountains, there lived three brothers, Alric, Brand, and Corwin. They were known throughout the village for their unique personalities. Alric, the eldest, was cautious and wise. He believed in patience and strategy. Brand, the middle brother, was strong, brave, and often acted without thinking. Corwin, the youngest, was curious and kind-hearted, always seeking to learn from the world around him. One day, an old traveler arrived in the village with stories of a magical treasure hidden atop the Mountain of Trials. This treasure, the traveler said, would grant unimaginable riches to anyone who could pass the three great trials that protected it. The brothers, captivated by the idea of the treasure, decided to embark on the journey together. The next morning, they set off towards the mountain. Their parents watched from the village with both pride and worry in their hearts. The first trial. The Forest of Shadows. The brothers journeyed through thick forests for several days until they reached a dark, foreboding part of the woods. This was the entrance to the Forest of Shadows, where the first trial awaited. As they entered, the trees grew taller, their branches twisting like the arms of ancient giants. The air became colder, and shadows danced between the trees, making it difficult to see clearly. The brothers soon found themselves lost. Suddenly, a figure appeared before them, a tall, shadowy creature with eyes that glowed like burning coals. "To pass through this forest, you must answer my riddle," the creature hissed. "What walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening?" Alric, being the wisest, stepped forward. "I know the answer," he said confidently. "It is man. As a baby, he crawls on all 4s. As an adult, he walks on 2 legs. In old age, he uses a cane, which makes 3. The shadowy figure smiled, revealing sharp teeth, but it stepped aside. "You may pass." They continued their journey, but the forest had drained their strength. It was clear that each trial would test them differently. The second trial. The River of Doubt. After leaving the Forest of Shadows, the brothers reached a vast rushing river. This was the River of Doubt, the second trial. The water was fast and cold, and there was no visible way to cross. A lone boat sat on the shore, tied to a post, but there were no oars. As the brothers stood by the riverbank, unsure of what to do, a voice echoed from the water. "Only those who believe in themselves can cross the river of doubt. One of you must take the boat and row across, but there are no oars. You must find another way." Brand, being the strongest and the bravest, immediately stepped forward. "I will do it," he said, without hesitation. He untied the boat and climbed inside. For a moment, he stared at the water, uncertain how he would row with oars. Then, with a fierce determination, he cupped his hands and began to paddle through the rushing river. It was a slow and grueling process. The river's current pulled at the boat, and the cold water splashed against him. But Brand never gave up. His strength and determination drove him forward. After what felt like hours, he finally reached the other side. The voice from the river spoke again. "You have passed the trial of doubt. You believed in your strength, and it has carried you across." Brand looked back at his brothers, who soon followed in the same boat, taking turns paddling as Brand had shown them. Together, they crossed the river and continued their journey. The third trial, the mirror of truth. Finally, after many days of traveling, the brothers reached the foot of the mountain of trials. At the mountain's peak lay the treasure, but first they had to face the final trial. At the base of the mountain stood a large stone door, guarded by a silver mirror. The mirror glowed with an eerie light. As they approached, a voice echoed from the mirror. "To pass through this door, each of you must look into the mirror of truth. It will show you the deepest part of your soul. Only those who can accept what they see will pass." Alric, being the eldest, stepped forward first. He looked into the mirror and saw an image of himself, but different. He was old, frail, and alone. Alric realized that he had spent so much time thinking and planning that he had never truly lived. He had never taken risks, never allowed himself to experience the world fully. It was a harsh truth, but he accepted it. The mirror glowed, and the door opened slightly. Brand was next. When he looked into the mirror, he saw himself, but this time he was fighting a great beast. As he swung his sword at the beast, it became clear that the creature was not his enemy. It was his own reflection. Brand understood that his greatest battle was not against the world, but against his own pride and impulsiveness. He accepted this truth, and the door opened further. Finally, it was Corwin's turn. When he looked into the mirror, he saw himself surrounded by people. But they were all in need. They were hungry, cold, and sad, and he was standing in the middle, unsure of what to do. Corwin realized that while he was kind-hearted, he often hesitated to act. He feared making mistakes, and this fear stopped him from helping others. He accepted this, knowing that he needed to trust himself more. The door opened completely. Together, the brothers climbed the mountain and found the treasure at the peak. But to their surprise, the treasure was not gold or jewels. Instead, it was a simple stone with a message carved into it. The greatest treasure is understanding yourself. The return home. The brothers were disappointed at first, but as they descended the mountain, they realized the truth of the message. Each of them had learned something valuable about themselves during the trials, and this wisdom was more precious than any material wealth. When they returned to their village, they were greeted as heroes. The villagers had expected them to return with riches, but instead, the brothers shared the lessons they had learned: patience, belief in oneself, and self-understanding. In time, the brothers became leaders of their village. each using their unique strengths to help their people. Alric's wisdom guided them through difficult decisions. Bran's bravery protected them from danger, and Corwin's kindness united the community. And so, the three brothers lived their lives not as the richest men in the land, but as the wisest and most respected, proving that true wealth lies not in gold, but in the strength of one's character. Moral of the story: the greatest treasure you can find is the knowledge of yourself. By understanding your strengths and weaknesses, and by learning from your experiences, you can achieve more than you ever imagined. This story highlights themes of self-discovery, brotherhood, and personal growth, written in a way that introduces a wide range of vocabulary while keeping the plot engaging.